Welcome to Bottom of the
Yeah.
Barrel.
Hey, folks. I'm Jeff.
Let's try that one more time.
Okay, yeah. So I was at the time I was still working in an office job. I was actually working for a movie advertising company in Boston, and as were most people in the advertising industry, I was at the time was a functioning alcoholic. I would take a break for 8 hours to come do my job.
Yeah.
But when I wasn't there, I was drinking excessively, and that it can take a real what's the word I'm looking for? It can pulverize your insides and
Okay.
make for some emergency bathroom trips from your desk. And so I was there on the John, and that I don't know if John, that's what we call toilets in America.
Yeah, we call them that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And boy, I mean, it was coming out fast and furious. And at one point, my stomach was in so much pain that I was like leaning forward on the toilet, and I left a good portion of space between my ass and the rim. And it splashed so hard that the shit literally bounced out of the water and came up and hit me in the back. And I had to leave. Luckily, I had on an undershirt, but I had to throw away I had a nice office polo shirt that I was wearing, which I had to throw in the trash in the bathroom and then send my boss a quick text saying had an emergency, had to go home. And yeah, so I was riding the train all through Boston to get home while trying not to shit my pants. And that's why I recommend sobriety.
That's a very good reason to recommend sobriety.
Yeah.
Now, was your boss a functioning alcoholic as well? Did they understand the struggle?
My boss actually was a friend of mine before I worked there,
All
and we did party quite a bit together. Um, there's
right.
stories I could, yeah. He might come into future stories that I tell.
All right. Kindred spirits then, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to Bottom of the Barrel.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Ben, and we're scraping the bottom of the barrel to come up with the best, worst movies that we could possibly think of.
Because like us, you may take great pleasure in these things for whatever reason.
Today we're going to talk about a movie called Maniac Killer slash Mania slash Mania Killer. And all the best movies have more than two names, honestly.
Couldn't agree more. Except in this case, full disclosure for you and for the viewers. Um, I did not enjoy Mania slash Maniac Killer slash what was the third title again?
Mania Killer.
Mania Mania Killer. At no point did I have any idea what the hell was going on. At no point was I enjoying myself. So this week things are going to be a little different. I'm coming into this admitting that I don't know what I would even talk about. And Ben is going to not only fill me in on the things that I missed, but he's going to change my mind and make me realize what a great movie this was.
Well, I'm certainly going to try. This movie is a bit wild. It's an Italian production set in France with mostly French background and character actors, but the main stars are American for whatever reason. Now, with this one as well, this one was directed by the same guy that directed Burial Ground, who is, I believe, Andrea Bianchi.
That sounds about right.
Hang on 2 seconds. I should have wrote it down. And I'm leaving this in because this is my dumb shit moment of the video that happens every time we do one of these. I'm telling you.
Oh, I should, when you do this, I should break out one of my instruments and play a little musical interlude.
Like a little Seinfeld, like a doom, 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 doom.
Oh, yeah. Break out one of my basses for sure.
I was right the first time. It was Andrea Bianchi. Now, if you were to read the credits of this movie, it says that it was directed by a guy named Frank Drew. But don't let that shit fool you because it was actually Andrea Bianchi, the same guy that directed Burial Ground. When the credits open up, they have the strangest fake cat sound that I've ever heard for no reason at all. It just no reason, just happens. This movie has nothing to do with cats. Very strange.
No, and my cat actually flipped her shit when she heard that.
I
She
wonder,
was pawing at the TV. I wish I had video of it to
wonder if
share.
it's a cat and heat sound or something like that.
I
That's weird.
maybe.
Like the movie is boring for some people, but it makes cats horny, and
Mhm.
that's I guess the reason for it. So this movie starts out with a man and a woman coming out of a local dive bar. And the dive bar doesn't look like anything special. It looks like just your random hole in the wall bar. But these two people coming out, the guy is wearing a full tuxedo. Why are you wearing a full tuxedo to the local dive bar? I'll tell you why. Because that's what pimps wear here. He's a pimp named Manfred Gray, and he's dressed, decked out in a full tuxedo, and he's talking with one of his employees. His employee is a woman who I believe doesn't have a name, but she is very concerned about getting Manfred Gray home because he's very drunk.
You gotta sleep it off. Come.
Look who's giving the orders now.
And he doesn't want to have any of it. She offers to take him home to her place so she can take care of him. He says,
Take care of me. You can't even take care of your Johns.
and then he smacks her. He hauls up and just gives her a big old whack. And she's left to walk home alone. And you know, that's never a good idea to send your prostitutes walking home alone when they're your employees or your property, or I don't know how that dynamic works. But he sends her walking home. And while she's walking home, guy starts following her. That's not a big surprise in a movie like this, right? No.
No. It's
This is,
Italian. It's
yeah,
made from I believe it's 80s, right? It must be
yep,
80s because Robert Ginty features prominently in it. So you know there's going to be situations set up where some type of heinous assault
yeah,
will occur or
yeah.
can occur.
Not just 80s, early 80s. Early 80s was
Mhm.
even worse. So she's walking back through the park, and she's followed home. She's followed by this heavy-set fella. And you can't really tell what's going on with this guy. He's wearing a very nice suit and one of those Russian fur hats, one of those fur hats that looks like just some furry column of something
Yeah,
on his head.
it's like
He's following.
the kid in play hat.
Yeah, it looks like a kid in play. Maybe that's what he modeled his hair off of, was one of those Russian hats.
He just saw House Party and he really liked the look.
Yeah, except I think this predates House Party.
Much
Oh,
by well, no, by a few years, yeah.
yeah. So she, it kind of looks like she's gonna get away. She almost gets to her door. She fiddles with her keys, and then finally this guy grabs her. He picks her up. He fireman carries her back to his lair, and it's a good thing there are no cops around because that guy would have got caught for sure. Because there were lights everywhere, and he was just carrying a woman home. Not something that would normally happen. No. When they get her back to the lair, she's chained up. Okay? And it looks like it's in a castle. This place looks like a castle. It looks very fancy. There's some guy dressed in a red robe. You can see him putting his robe on. He gets a snake staff out, so you can tell that this guy's like a cult guy, like
Yeah.
Ninja Master Harry was in Empire of the Dark, right? It's
Yeah.
that kind of deal. He turns on some hair metal. That's very important because anytime this woman is being tortured all through the movie, they have to turn on some hair metal first. And they make a big production of it, showing him hit the button to turn on his DJ turntable or something
Yeah.
like that, to turn on his hair metal. And then he sits in a chair. And the heavyset gentleman disrobes because you can't torture somebody when you're wearing your clothes. That's the
No.
facts, right?
Especially if you're a big beefy man.
Yeah, big beefy man. Steve Barkett doesn't torture people with his clothes on, I can tell you that much.
No.
So this guy disrobes. I can only imagine that the cult guy in the robe with the snake staff is totally jacking it in the cuck chair. He's he's sitting in that cuck chair, he's jacking it. And then the big guy, you'll never guess what he does next. He takes out some cutting pliers and he removes her nipple. Can you believe
Yes,
it? And at
I
that point
can.
in time, Jeff actually texted me. He said, "I can't believe that they just cut her nipple off."
Yeah. It was one of those scenes. A lot of this part of the movie we're describing
Yeah.
were the scenes that made it into the trailer that made me think I was going to be watching this balls to the wall, amazing, great horror slash thriller movie. Um, but there's also about 80 minutes of that were included in the movie. But yes, I do remember that scene with the utmost clarity.
Well, you know what they call that, right?
What's up?
The Great Italian Fake Out.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Put all your best stuff in the trailer and leave 80 minutes of.
Well, see, I think it's the great French fake out, and I think that's the influence that France
Oh,
had on this movie. Because even David Mamet will say that French movies are fucking boring.
yeah, you know what? I
Italian
suppose you're right.
movies, yeah, I
Yeah.
think Italians usually get it right.
I think for a while in the early 2000s, they changed their name to Freedom Movies too, right? Instead of French movies.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So this woman is missing, and now we cut to the town pub where some local yokels are having a meal together. And the local mail carrier comes in, and this guy is the town gossip. This guy is always saying, "Hey, did you hear what happened? Oh my God, you'd never believe it." So the local mail carrier is dropping the hot news that a woman disappeared recently, and this is salacious stuff. Like he can't believe it. He's talking all about how it was a sex worker, and she was one of those women because she was nabbed outside of that club. And then when one of the guys says, "Well, how do you know that she was a sex worker at the table?" They all make fun of him for not cheating on his wife in the past 20 years. Like,
He wouldn't know. He hasn't cheated on his wife in 20 years.
he doesn't know what a sex worker is.
Typical barroom conversation.
Absolutely. So this mail carrier, he thinks that the kidnapper was Dr. Osborne, who's a new guy in town from California, from leftist main hold
What?
from
You're
California.
implying that California is a left-leaning place where people have loose morals.
Right. That's what I meant to say. But my brain fried at that exact moment that it was meant to come out. And trust us, folks, we belong in California, us too. So, yeah. Uh, so he's a new guy in town, Dr. Osborne. He's from California. And get this, his maid calls him Professor. And
I wonder
in
why.
this place that he lives in, he calls it his lab.
Mhm. Good
This
reason
guy,
for that.
sorry?
There's a good reason for that.
There's a good reason for that. But that's exactly what the mail carrier says. He can't believe
Mhm.
that this woman calls him professor, and he can't believe that he calls this place a lab. And you know what? Sometimes he gets a peek at what's in that lab, and sometimes there's animals in there, and sometimes there's blood on the floor. So this guy's super dumb. He's like the super equivalent of a French local yokel, but for whatever reason, he's got a Brooklyn accent too.
That Professor Osborne, he doesn't let anybody into that house, not even me.
Go figure. So the cops bring in Manfred Gray, the pimp, to ask him what happened to his employee. And he holds his cigarette in a very fancy way. And I'm going to show it to you here because I can't remember exactly what it's like, but I think he holds it like this, like he's going to throw a dart.
What's your name?
Manfred Gray.
Profession?
Salesman.
Which would fit, right? Because in Canada, sometimes we call cigarettes darts. He's having a dart.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? A beer and a dart go together like a piss and a fart.
I follow the logic. It makes sense. I
Yeah,
agree.
there you go. Yeah. So Manfred Gray is full of attitude, and his voice dub is hilarious.
What is this? A cross-examination?
So next we get to see Dr. Osborne, and Dr. Osborne is Chuck Connors, American actor Chuck Connors, the guy from Tourist Trap, that wore all the mannequin stuff, and he was probably in a bunch of cowboy movies and shit too, but I don't know. I don't watch those things. I just watch Tourist Trap.
Clearly, yeah, Tourist Trap is the pinnacle of the man's filmography.
Yeah, I think so too. So Chuck Connors is very grumpy. Some reporters are rolling into town, and there's a long scene with the two of them sitting in the car talking to each other about the disappearances. And that doesn't make any sense. And we'll get to that in a minute, why that doesn't make any sense, why these two are speculating on the disappearances. They get into question or I want to call him Chuck Osborne. I'm going to call him Chuck Osborne because Chuck
Sure, why
Connors,
not?
Dr. Osborne, Chuck Osborne.
Sure. Just don't call him Dr. Oz.
Yeah, Dr. Oz. Oh my God. Right.
He can go himself.
Yeah. Right in the ear.
Ouch.
Oh, which reminds me of this great mug I found.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too. So, Dr. Chuck Osborne stonewalls the reporters who are working on the kidnapping. He doesn't want to have anything to do with these clown asses.
I don't have any further comment. Why don't you go look in the morgue?
And meanwhile, outside, there's this character named Matthew, watching the whole thing. Matthew is one of the most offensive characters that I have seen in a movie in a very long time. He's made to have intellectual disabilities, and he's got a Leonardo DiCaprio haircut with the floppy hair. So he's got the floppy
Yeah.
haircut, and he's acting exactly like he was doing an impression of Arnie from What's Eating Gilbert Grape. That's how he's acting. But when you think about it, hot take here, What's Eating Gilbert Grape came out 5 years after this movie. Was Leonardo DiCaprio basing his portrayal of Arnie on Matthew from Mania/Maniac Killer/Mania Killer?
Well, I think we know clearly where the inspiration came from.
Absolutely. Oh boy. Yeah. So now it's a party time. They're having a party at the home of Bo Svensson's character, whose name is Count Silvano.
He had to be a count.
Yeah, he was Count Silvano, Bo Svensson. Bo Svensson is another one of the American actors who's in this thing. He's a very tall man. He's a tall drink of water. I most remember him for playing an extraordinarily homophobic asshole cop in Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that, and he was really laying into the kid in that movie. It's pretty bad stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to remember where I'd seen him from, and
Yeah.
I think it must be some like several titles in my like 80s action collection.
I think he was in Walking Tall as well. He wasn't like the lead guy, but I think he was like one of the bad guys in Walking Tall.
It would make sense.
Yeah, not the one with the rock, but the original one.
The one with the late great Joe Don Baker.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, King.
Rest in peace, King. Did you say rest in Pete's?
Peace.
Okay, I thought you said rest in Pete's, and I thought that was a Boston thing. I thought so. I almost
Yeah,
said
yeah,
rest in
Pete's.
Pete's,
We're
King.
going down to Pete's later.
Say hello to your mother for me. I can't do it.
No, you can't.
Right to jail.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Rest in peace, King.
So the party that's going on at Count Silvano's house is super lame, and it's full of 80s idiots. Like these guys are all. It's like watching the party at in boarding house. Everybody looks like a
Little
cop. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The some guy is trying to Count Silvano's wife, the Duchess,
Robert
right in
Ginty.
front of him.
Yep. The great Robert Ginty.
The great Robert Ginty. Yes, it's Robert Ginty. We'll learn soon enough that he's the leader of the bad guy cult. It's not a spoiler at this point because like the very next scene you find out. But he's trying to
quick
fuck.
sidebar.
Yeah,
How many Robert Ginty movies have you seen?
I couldn't tell you. I probably have seen
Okay.
a bunch, but I didn't recognize him.
I've seen two.
Okay.
Mania
Yep.
and another one called White Heat,
Okay.
in which it's one we need to do at some point. But long story short, when his sister, who is his like I don't know, diamond smuggling partner, dies,
Okay.
he pays a woman to get plastic surgery to look exactly like his sister, and then he tries to
Okay.
well, he does.
Yeah.
And so it's my hunch is that every movie that Robert Ginty is in, he tries to someone he's not supposed to.
That's a good assertion. So yeah, we're gonna definitely do that movie. That movie sounds crazy.
It is.
But so this guy is not making any making any deception or anything like that. He's not trying to hide his intentions. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna f your wife, pal. So naturally he gets kicked out of the party. He gets kicked out of the party by James and Steven. Their names are James and Steven. And they don't look very tough, and they're dressed like George Washington.
Well, this was after they escorted him downstairs and sat him down
Yeah. Yeah.
and then brought him back upstairs just to throw him out.
Well, yeah, he had gone down there with the Duchess trying to put the
Oh, that's
moves on
right.
her. And
Yeah.
then they smacked the drink out of his hand and took him
Uh-huh.
out. To
But
James and Stephen.
the Count wasn't mad at the Duchess, though.
No, not at all.
He was just mad at Robert Ginty for being a player.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just for trying to bone his wife. I
Yeah.
mean, later on, I think we're going to find out that she wasn't into it, but she wasn't doing anything to try and stop it or anything. I think she was just
No, she
going with the
certainly
flow.
wasn't.
Right. So they do some fireworks at this party, and they don't seem very safe because they're like right in the yard. They're kind of like aiming them at the house too. That's a
Yeah.
recipe for a disaster. You got any good fireworks stories?
Well, here in the state of New Hampshire,
Yeah.
which is often described as the northernmost southern state or the south of the north, we're kept up many nights by fireworks. Could be a random Tuesday in October.
Okay.
Could be any day where it's not raining. And don't even get me started on the 4th of July.
Oh boy.
So my only real story about fireworks is that I hate them with a fiery, no pun intended, burning passion.
Oh, okay.
They traumatize dogs, they traumatize war veterans, but yet somehow they're patriotic.
What does your cat think about it? Does your cat get freaked out?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Bit, yes. Usually she hides under the bed when the assholes are out on the street blasting them away.
Yeah. The worst thing that happens here is, well, like we get them on holidays. They don't seem to do them right around the house here, but
Mhm.
In the streets of downtown Toronto, you get gangs of youths shooting fireworks
Youths.
at each other. Yeah. Having
That's
fireworks
okay.
wars in the middle of the street, and that's not a good idea. But
I did partake in some of that when I was a young
oh,
boy.
did you?
Yeah, we used to shoot bottle rockets at each other and all
Like
kinds of fun stuff.
like the monster vampire from Robo Vampire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right out of your fingers.
I had a friend who had one of those older brothers. You know, the older brother who's like 28 and lives in the basement, and
Oh yeah,
uh,
those older brothers
he
are
yeah
great.
he ran around like with like blasting Roman candles like right out of his hand. I got hit by one. It was a lot of fun.
Okay. All right, so James and Steven kick that guy out. There's some fireworks, and then we get a little flashback. And this might not have made any sense to you because somebody's doing voiceover and saying that the ancestral book of perennium truth tells us that only torture of the flesh can drive the evil spirits from the bodies of the unclean. So these guys that are doing this cult sacrificing or torturing think that they're the good guys. Their whole shtick is they kidnap sex workers, they torture them to get the evil spirits to come out of them, and I don't know what happens if they fail because, spoiler alert, the woman that they are torturing all throughout this movie is the same sex worker that they tortured at the beginning. They
Yeah.
never kill her. She
No.
just gets tortured every so often. And
And doesn't her nipple grow back? Because I feel like we see it again.
I don't think we do, to be perfectly honest, but I could be
Okay.
wrong because I was watching it on a commuter train and I was kind of trying to shield my screen from prying eyes at certain point.
Sure.
So during this flashback, there is one of the previous leaders of this cult is torturing what we can only assume is a sex worker, and he ends up killing her. So that one died, whenever that was. Then all of a sudden, the reporters from the beginning who were speculating on what happened to this woman who disappeared are in the cult, and they're torturing the woman that they were talking about. I don't know why we got that scene where they were on their way, talking, speculating when they were actually in the cult. You'd assume that they knew what was going on when they got there.
You know.
The woman one is whipping the sex worker in this one,
Yeah.
and she whips quite a bit. And of course, hair metal playing in the background. Very important. I
It's
mean,
mandatory.
that guy can't finish if he's not listening to hair metal while he's sitting in the cuck chair, right?
Same. I mean, if I don't have some Cinderella or some White Snake or maybe some 80s non-makeup era Kiss going, I
Oh,
cannot climax.
lick it up. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the local pimps are now working together to try and investigate the disappearances of their workers. Although only one has gone missing in the time that we've seen. But Manfred Gray is leading this group of disparate fellows who all seem to be rather unsavory. So that was wild. The differently abled kid, Matthew, brings back animals to Dr. Chuck Connors, to Dr. Chuck Osborne, who is an old man goofing around on computers. And watching this old man goofing around on computers is very funny. He decides that he's going to teach this child out of his benevolent heart. He's going to teach this child how to speak and potentially read.
Yeah.
And he does that by allowing Matthew to hammer on the keys of the keyboard to the point where you can actually hear the keyboard beeping, like the computer beeping, because he's holding the key in for too long.
Yeah.
And he's just slamming keys and making sounds that I personally found very offensive.
Mhm.
But it happened anyway. And then Professor Chuck gives the most rambling ass, nonsense, long speech to the maid about how people with disabilities learn how to speak and read.
He's afraid of people because he feels they're superior to him. But he's not afraid of machines, that much is very clear.
Like this guy knows what the is going on.
Yeah.
None of it sounds right. It all sounds nonsense. But I don't know what people believed in the 80s because I was just a kid.
Well, I mean, I was tested for learning disabilities in the 90s,
Okay.
and looking back, they clearly didn't know what the hell they were doing then. So, who knows? We can only assume that in the early 80s that maybe this guy actually had a progressive approach.
Yeah. All right. So we learn that the leader of the cult is Robert Ginty, the guy who was trying to kill Count Silvano's wife.
Yep.
And he has a little meeting with the reporters in his living room. And his living room is so cool because he's got a Kiss pinball machine. It's very noticeable.
Yes.
It's the coolest thing about this movie by far is the Kiss pinball machine.
You right.
I
And
was gonna bring that up later. Yes, was clearly my favorite thing about the movie.
that's what makes him cool. That's what
Yeah.
makes this guy cool. The pimps decide that at this very moment they're going to make an assault on Robert Ginty's cult house on this evil castle. And so all these pimps get up and they start advancing on the place. They had guns, I believe. Yeah, they had guns. They had guns too. But they're of the two reporters, we've got the lady reporter, and I haven't mentioned him yet. I can't believe I haven't mentioned him yet because the male reporter is a bald guy that looks like a thumb. He looks like a human thumb.
Burn.
Like this thumb right here.
Yeah.
This is the guy, okay? So the thumb guy grabs a shotgun, goes up to the second floor, and from long range, he's taking these guys out with a shotgun. Pinpoint accuracy. This guy is the most accurate long-range shotgunner in the history of the world. Problem though, he runs out of ammo. So what does he do for the last guy?
Do I remember correctly? He throws the gun at him.
No, he gets out a grenade and hucks a grenade at the
Oh,
guy and
that was
blows
it.
him up. Last guy
Yeah.
gets blown up, and no cops heard that at all. They didn't hear any of the gunfire. They didn't hear the explosive. That's for sure. Because these guys, nobody's coming to check on them. At this point, I said that I think the Countess is wearing a wig. The woman that plays the Countess,
Yeah.
because she is young Matthew is catching animals to give to Dr. Osborne to do his little experiments on to try and save people because you can heal people by killing animals. That is the lesson that we learned from Dr. Chuck Connors in this movie. Matthew grabs the one of the biggest rabbits I've ever seen. It's a big ass rabbit, throws it in a bag, and the Countess finds him because she's riding around on a horse. And she gets real mad at this kid for stealing her rabbit.
A rabbit! Let that rabbit go! You thief!
And so she chases him down with a horse and starts whipping him with a stick, but he manages to get away. And that's where I thought she was wearing a wig. It sure did look like it.
Pretty sure she was.
Yeah. So right after that, the reporter that looks like a thumb kidnaps the Countess. She just kind of like he struggles with her for a little while, and then she just kind of passes out.
Yeah.
So like it was an easy job for him. He just had to wiggle with her for a little bit, and then she went bruh like that out completely. But Matthew sees this. So he saw that happen. So Matthew is a witness to the crime, and that's important. We have to remember that. That Matthew, the young child, the young differently abled child, who is probably 30, has now witnessed this crime. But to throw everyone off, especially the town gossips, the lady reporter throws a wig on, probably the same wig that the Countess was wearing.
I think it was. I think because I was watching it with Melanie, and she actually pointed out that she thought it was like the same wig.
Yeah. So I wonder if the Countess is bald. Maybe she's got alopecia like Jada Pinkett. You don't have alopecia, Jeff. Look at that beard.
No, I just have a perfect head that
There you
requires
go.
no hair.
Yeah, perfect head. That's your nickname.
Haven't had any complaints yet.
Oh boy. So the lady reporter throws off everyone by putting on the Countess's wig and riding the Countess's horse towards the professor's lab. And that was enough for everybody. She's very proud of herself afterwards. She goes back to Robert Ginty and says,
Lots of people saw me, so I don't think anyone will suspect that she's your guest.
and he gets mad at her because she lost the Countess's riding crop, and he tells her to go find it immediately. And you'd think that that was going to lead to something, but absolutely nothing. That was a red herring. We never hear from that line of the story. Gone. Done.
Vanished forever.
Vanished. But it did what they intended it to do because the local yokels, the postman guy, the gossip, he saw not only that, not only saw the Countess riding towards the professor's lab, but he also saw Matthew taking out a big package, possibly a body, from Professor Chuck Connors, and he calls that in as a tip to the cops. He says, "Hey, guess what? This professor guy who I don't like, who everybody calls a professor, and he works in what he calls a laboratory. Oh my God, can you believe it? He is up to no good." So the Fuzz, and this is a wild scene. The Fuzz arrive to arrest Professor Chuck because there's some blood on the floor of his lab. That means he's guilty.
Which leads to one of my favorite depictions of police incompetence.
I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
He says,
All right, Sergeant. I'll get my coat.
and they just let him go get his jacket unaccompanied.
Yep. And guess what he does, everybody? He sneaks out the back door in the least stealthy way that you possibly could. Chuck Connors is a very old man, and that's old man sneaking what he's doing. But there's a cop out there that sees him, and the cop doesn't tell him to stop, just immediately opens fire with a fucking machine gun. He's got a machine gun.
Comes nowhere close to hitting him. He hits a tree that's like 10 feet overhead.
Friggin' machine gun, man. There's another scene after that where they torture the same sex worker again from the beginning. I can't remember what they did to her this time, but I remember that they had little fake scratches on her from the whip this time.
Yeah.
And definitely can tell you that there was hair metal playing in the background. That I can tell you for sure. Count Silvano now decides, you know what, my wife's missing. And I'm going to go. I know exactly where she went. She went because she got snaked by that guy who wants to her, right? So I'm going to go to his place. I'm going to go to his castle and I'm going to look for my wife. And he brings, what are those guys? Stephen and James and Stephen. So he brings James and Stephen with him. And James and Stephen immediately get murdered. Okay? They don't even get to do anything. The guy who looks like a thumb, the guy who looks like this, Immediately shotguns James and Stephen. They're done for sure.
Yeah.
And then Count Silvano beats up like 4 guys on the stairs. It's probably the best fight scene in this movie. It's probably the only
Yeah.
fight scene in this movie,
And
right?
one of them, he
Yeah.
gives a good few punches, and then one of them he just goes,
Yeah,
like,
he just
smacks
slaps him
him
and
right
he's
across
done. He's that tough. He's like Hulk Hogan, right? If Hulk Hogan
Yeah.
slaps you, you got to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh. But then he gets caught. Okay, so yeah, I wrote that he slaps one guy like Ric Flair. I wrote that down. Woo! Then he's caught and he's strung up by the bad guys. So now he's caught, his wife is caught, and the sex worker, this poor sex worker who's had her nipple chopped off, is all caught. They're all strung up. They're all like I think Count Silvano's on one of those one of those BDSM X's or something like that.
I've never seen one of those. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay. All right. You write dirty books.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Come on.
So Matthew, we're shown where Matthew lives, and Matthew lives in a dirty ass shack. And if you're trying to think of what kind of what that brought to mind for me is the shack that Jason Voorhees lives in Friday the 13th Part 2, when he's got the sack on his head still, like the gross old shack. That's what Matthew lives in. Very disgusting.
It's definitely a Jack Shack.
Yeah, it's a Jack Shack. Everybody goes to Jack in the Jack Shack. Not Matthew though. He's he's an innocent little jiggly baby.
I disagree. He is not an innocent little jiggly baby.
No?
But that would kind of give away the end of the movie.
Okay. All right. I'd love to hear where you're going to go with this, but all right. So next, Chuck Connors goes to the Jack Shack to bring Matthew back to his house. The cops come back to the lab too. Dr. Chuck says, okay, come back. I've got this Matthew kid here now. He can tell you that he was taking a cat or dog in a bag away, and he'll tell you what happened. Because Matthew uses the computers to miraculously tell the cops and everyone else what was going on. Except it's not quite so miraculously. He's just kind of hammering on stuff, and then the maid and Chuck Connors are just like extrapolating what he might have said. So if I were a cop, I would have said, he didn't say that. You said that. Like, but
And I think
either way.
he pins the tail on a donkey or a horse or something.
Yeah, pins the tail on a horse, and then everybody's like, "It was the Countess's horse. The reporter was riding it. They were trying to fool us. She's at the bad guy's castle." And also, if you've got a guy who you know is a bad guy who lives in a castle in your town, that's the first place you go to look for people who are abducted. I'm telling you right now.
Duh.
Even if he has a KISS
Universal
pinball
truth.
machine. So all of the cops go to the cult guy's house. And immediately there's a huge American style shootout. And pretty much everyone but the main cult guy, one cop, and the captives are killed. Everyone else is dead. Just these guys are still alive. And I noted here that this is the same woman they've been torturing her throughout the entire movie. Kind of wild they never killed her, considering that's what the cult's supposed to do. And the bad guys only ever killed pimps and cops and no one else. Yeah. And the movie ends. I said offends because it does offend.
It
did. The movie ends on a really offensive close-up of Matthew making a really offensive face and going f***ing bananas. He's just going crazy because he's so happy that they saved the day.
See, I thought he was looking at the naked sex worker.
Oh.
And he was finally getting some words out.
Oh.
Is at that point I said, "Oh, now you can talk, you pervert."
You know what? That may be the case. This was a French movie made by an Italian man in the early 80s, so it absolutely could have been the case. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, thinking that it was just because he had helped save the day. But maybe he had more sinister motives. So, Jeff, did I manage to convince you about this movie at all? You did laugh at some parts.
You brought a few things back to memory that made it seem a little bit better than it was.
Okay.
I will say that. I would say that it is not on my rewatch list.
Okay.
I was still bored and confused through the majority of it.
Mhm.
I don't care about being confused, but it's the boredom that I cannot abide by.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
however, I came into this video knowing already what I was going to rate the movie.
Yeah.
We've got some hair metal soundtrack,
Yeah.
Kiss Pinball Machine,
Yeah.
and some breasts.
Okay.
10 out of 10.
All right. Now for myself, it's got nearly everything that I look for in a movie. It's got cultural significance because I believe that Leonardo DiCaprio watched this movie and based his award-winning character, Arnie from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, on Matthew. Number 2, we learned that Chuck Connors knows how to use a computer. Number 3, we learned that the best defense against a pimp is a hand grenade. And number 4 is we learned that cultists like to sit in the cuck chair. And I give this movie a 10 out of 10. Woo! All right. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of Maniac Killer / Mania Killer, the 3 named movie from Italy by way of France. And that also brings us to the end of the episode at Bottom of the Barrel. And I would ask you, please, to click the subscribe button. You can subscribe to Jeff's channel and my channel at exactly the same time by hitting exactly the same button, and it will take you exactly 1 second. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. And you can hear more conversations like this. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. We've got all sorts of stuff planned for this channel, for this particular show, in fact. So please join us again next week when we talk about spoilers. I'm not going to tell you. Goodbye.